Hi, everyone, and welcome. We are here to talk about how to unlock your next promotion. My name is Lauren Baptiste. I'm a burnout for experts in what I call billable hour professions. So accountants, attorneys, consultants, and what an amazing week considering it's Wellbeing Week in law. So I thought it would be really fun to invite Estelle Winsett, who is a lawyer turned trusted stylist, to have a conversation about how to do that, how to get that next promotion without that sacrifice. Today is not going to be the conversation about working harder and like burning the midnight oil. We're going to actually talk about an authentic way to unlock your next promotion. So I want to bio Estelle because there is a lot to say and I want to make sure she gets all the credit for all the amazing things she does. So Estelle Winsett is a former litigation attorney turned personal stylist, specializing in professional style and branding for female lawyers. With a mission to empower women through style, Estelle helps her clients craft their signature look, enabling them to present their most authentic selves and stand out in their fields. Drawing from her extensive legal expertise, understands the unique challenges women face in professional environments and offers tailored solutions that elevate their personal brand. Estelle, welcome to the show.
You so much, Lauren. I love being here. This is awesome.
It's like a perfect time to talk about promotions. And it's interesting because I think when we think about wellness, we talk about drinking water or yoga classes. But for me, when I think about wellness, it's about giving yourself a life where you can love your job and have enough time after hours to enjoy your life. And what easier way to do that is than to be higher up the ladder. So this is my thought with promotion, but I really want to hear because Estelle has so much good knowledge. So I just want to like dig right into like talking about promotions from your perspective.
Sure.
So tell me about it's promotion season. A lot of times, maybe it's mid-year. We're talking about, there's talking about goals or end of busy seasons or end of like these big periods that now promotions in the works. How do you approach that when you're working with your clients strategically and stylistically?
Yeah, it's a great question. What a lot of times women will come to me because they are wanting to get promoted. They know that the next round is coming up. In fact, I'm working with a client right now in Colorado who expects to here in June, and we've found her the perfect suit that she feels really comfortable in. It's more of a up-leveled kind of powerhouse boss suit. But really, when I'm working with my clients on this, and just from my past experience in big law and firm leadership, is helping the attorney understand that going from associate to partner, it's kind of an identity shift. I mean, you're going from basically an employee of the firm to an owner of the firm. And I know from talking to practice group leaders, they want to see the attorneys demonstrating that they are representing the firm as an owner, that they have that leadership, both perceived leadership inside the firm and then outside the firm, because a lot of times they're trying to think, does this person, is this going to be someone who we can bring to client important high pitch, meetings or high stake meetings, and this person's going to be a good representative of the firm as a whole.
Hmm.
And so that's where I find that style is such a great tool to use, to increase your confidence and to really embody this new identity of owner of the firm, and showing the firm and the partners now that you can embody it before you actually get the title. And so it's really, I think, dressing into your future self is such a great skill set, and it's such an instant boost of confidence. And so that's why I'm such a huge fan of using style as a tool, because instead of having to go to a therapist for years, you can work with me for 3 months and all of a sudden feel very confident. So
I love that. And you
just sit
feel
back
real
and track.
fresh all the while. I love this because what it's saying is you have so much more power and control over your promotion than you think. And you're using a tool that someone might not consider or read in a blog post or, in some type of, literature. It's actually a sneaky way. So tell me a little bit more about that confidence, the mindset, the imposter syndrome, because I see that a lot in the profession of those that I'm working with. But how do you see that as it relates to style and how do you bring that all together?
Yeah, a lot of the women that come to me are at a point in their career where they just feel like they're not demonstrating visually their level of expertise, who they are, or they're dressing for an old identity and it doesn't work for them anymore. And so when you don't have an alignment with the inside of who you are and how you are, your years of experience and the external image that you're projecting, you get that misalignment, and then people can see or feel that something is off. They can't put their finger on it, but the usual result in that kind of situation is a distrust. Like they don't know why, but something's off. And so it's really about getting in touch with who you are. It's a self-discovery and self-expression that I'm working with my clients on. And a lot of times as women, we don't evaluate, where am I now in my career? How are my style preferences different than they used to be 10 years ago? How am I leaning into this new, more leadership type role and using style as a way to help me feel that level of authority and respect, and also I think of style is self-care. We are talking about well-being this week.
Mm.
It really is true that when you look like $1 million, you feel like it, and it impacts how you perform. So it's really more of a performance enhancement tool. There's so many benefits that are so far beyond the clothes themselves, that I get really passionate about. So
I love it. I noticed when I was working with clients, so I experience women that are coming to me that are feeling really burnt out, and whether they're on their way to partner, they're actually partner, or maybe they're thinking about what I call like their victory lap of that last like lap in their career. One
yes,
thing that I notice is when grooming takes a back seat, that means so does well-being. And
yeah,
there's actually psychological safety in grooming when we get our hair cut, when we put on a nice outfit. It's not only just saying to the world, like, I care about how my appearance, which is one thing and powerful and amazing, but what it's actually saying is, I don't feel safe. If I'm not dressing up, like, and then again, there's levels of it, right? We don't have to be to the nines every single day, 24/7. And I'm sure you could speak to that. But there's something about if we're just like, oh, it's been 2 years since I've last gotten a haircut, it really just speaks to we're in survival mode and it's keeping us from being that best version of ourselves. And no wonder why we limit promotion because we feel like when we get there, it's actually going to be more work. But it's actually oftentimes the opposite of
yeah.
when we can get to that promotion level, we can operate better. So I was like, I have to mention that because it feels so perfect. Like that's so true with the grooming.
It's true. I even noticed it during COVID, and I think a lot of women did too. At first, it was so exciting. You can wear your pajamas and work from home. Yay. And then after a couple of weeks, you're like, and when I didn't dress up, I could feel it. I wasn't motivated to work. I just wasn't, giving it 110%. It impacts, like, what you wear has energy and it impacts how you show up. And so it's just giving yourself that extra advantage by empowering yourself by feeling great in what you're wearing. But I want to talk to you a little bit too about the obstacles that you see when you're working with your clients, on trying to get promoted and the burnout or the pressures they're feeling. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love how we both see it from different sides, but like what we're seeing over time is there's just an overlapping like message that's coming through. And so often when it's coming to promotion, we are feeling limited for one reason or another. One of the biggest things I hear from attorneys in the profession, time, right? I don't have enough time. So because I don't have enough time, I'm not getting enough done. I'm not hitting enough billable hours, et cetera, et cetera. And then I'm not hitting my metrics. Then my metrics, I'm not maybe up for promotion, right? That's one big one. Limited resources, challenging colleagues, tough clients, never-ending deadlines. It feels like we're always, what do they say, like drinking through the fire hose? It's just this constant pressure to perform and never a moment to relax. And so what's happening is what we think is the reason we're not promoting is actually not the reason. So
Ooh,
I'll say that again because it's like, I know
yeah.
we think it's the time, we think it's the clients, we think it's the deadlines, we think it's the limited resources, but it's not. Why we're not promoting is because we're actually have a mindset around promotion that feels like we can't promote because if I can't handle these problems, I can't see myself at a higher level. Or we have a mindset of like, I call it like these like five toxic thoughts. One of them being like, it is what it is, or this is what other people have told me, or others that I could talk about another time. But it's this idea of a mindset that keeps us on the hamster wheel. And it prevents us from being proper leaders. Like we actually, when we believe, well, this is how everyone else has done it, it keeps us as followers, even if we are partners. It keeps us from being a senior partner or a managing partner because we're not actually stepping up as the proper leader.
Yep.
And then one of the other things that I often see that holds us back from promotion is what I call a type A takedown. So we have people pleasing, perfectionism, procrastination, which are the three P's. Overworking is classified in this. It's how we've been taught and it's really how we've been taught to operate, which has given us such a great amount of success. But when we hit a certain level in our careers, that's no longer the next step to getting where you want to go.
Right.
There's
You
a
have to do
point,
something different to get to a different place. You can't just
right?
keep the same thing. Right.
100%. Like you can't even say yes anymore, right? Like in the beginning of the career, you could just say yes to working hard, yes to juggling all the things. But now you have likely several loyal clients and accounts that you work on that you're committed to. You have maybe extracurricular, like family obligations that you're taking care of. So you can't just say yes like you used to. So you need to learn a different way of operating. And
Yeah.
often what I'm hearing right now too is we feel like we're not promoting because we're blaming it on the market being terrible or the job, all of a sudden, like not promoting people this year or not doing raises or bonuses or promotions. So we need to really get into the subtleties of why you're not promoting and what's keeping you stuck and likely burned out.
Yeah. And as I was listening to you talk, like one of the things that resonated for me and what I see in my clients, it's almost this fear of being visible. You've gotten this safety from being a hard worker and doing good work. And when you have to shift your identity from an associate to an owner of the firm, there's some uncomfortable feelings there because you haven't been there before. It's the imposter syndrome can come up. Do I really have the level of authority and expertise I need? Will I be asked questions that I don't know the answers to and I'll feel silly? All those things start to come up. And then there's also the rub of, your friends who have been associates with you. All of a sudden, when you become partner and they're not, then there's oh, I got to like delegate tasks to people who used to be my buddies. But you really do have to adopt a new identity in order to get this leadership role and to show the firm leaders that you are ready for it. Um, and style is just a great way to it's a visual shift, a cue of, okay, this is a new level. This is where I'm going from. Doesn't mean I can't still be, colleagues or friendly with my colleagues, but I'm just stepping up into a new role and it's safe to be visible. And
Mm,
if you're not visible, then you're not remembered. And just like anything else, it's kind of like going through a job interview all over again. There are certain partners that have worked with you and understand your work and they know they can vouch for you, but there are other partners who don't know you as well. And so the only thing they have to go on is how you're showing up. And so the communication that you're sending through your style is really important to the people that don't know you as well. Because if you've got two equal candidates up for partnership, one is well known and one is not, the well known one is going to get it every time. And so this is just putting stacking the odds in your favor to promote how you are as a leader and that you are ready for the job.
absolutely. I think it's really important that like what I'm hearing you say is while there are things that you can do to position yourself, it's really not a one size fits all. And I'm
No.
sure I'm sure like that's the case with style, really. They say one size fits all, but is that even true? Is that even a thing? But really, like even in our careers to promotion, there's not one direct path. There's a methodology I follow or that I share with my clients that we work through step by step, which I can share in a little bit. But one thing that I'm hearing is it's how you express yourself, how you gain visibility, how you even build your confidence is not one way or the highway. It's like
100%.
I talk about it, when I share these types of tools and tricks and things with clients, it's like now you have a full bag of tricks and you get to
Yeah.
cherry pick once you have all of these tools at your disposal. So I
Yeah.
love how Estelle you share like style is so much more than just looking good. It's like
Right.
it's so deeply integrated into your next level of who you want to become, like you said, that future self.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And really uncovering who you are. Like I said, it's kind of this, if the outside doesn't match the inside, then it's incongruent. And so,
Mhm.
it's leveling up the outside to keep up with where you've become in your career and, showing that to other people. Because and if you're trying to dress like someone else, but it doesn't feel like you, like you were just talking about, the one size fits all, then you're not showing up in your power because you're shifting in your seat because you really feel like you're wearing something that's not you. And there's some kind of resentment in there because you're not feeling like yourself. And that's what I love to help my clients do is figure out, okay, how can we, within this realm of professional attire, how can we add that personality that gets you to be bold, but still professional? And then also that gets you to be who you are. Because if you blend in, then you're going to be forgotten. And that is the worst way to get promoted. But I want to hear a little bit more too. You were just talking about kind of your process of how you help your clients with these limiting beliefs and these, struggles. Tell me a little bit about what's your process with your clients.
Yeah, I would love to. So I share a 6-step process that I work with my clients, and it's really to help from where you are to where you want to go. Oftentimes, clients are coming to me because they say, "Hey, I've been up for promotion for 4 years and I'm still not promoted. And I really want to make sure this year it happens." Or I'm starting to feel like it's not even going to happen. Like I almost feel like I'm on the chopping block. So that first and really one of the most important steps is to understand why you're stuck. So, is it a lack of visibility? Is it low confidence? Is it the way that you're following instead of leading? And we really need to identify that. So, without that awareness, then we really don't progress to what we want to do or be or become. So we start in that first area of really understanding that awareness and breaking through that stuck, because the thing that's gotten you on the waiting list for 4 years will keep you on the waiting list for another four if we don't do something different.
Yeah, you have to do something different. Doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome is the definition of insanity, right?
So true. But we still have, there's
But
something
we do
about
it.
it.
I mean, like, I'm not trying to be judgy. I mean, I've been
I
so
do it.
this,
We've
right? I
all
mean,
done it.
yeah, it's because what's known is what feels safe, even when it's actually holding you back. And so breaking through that is
100%.
super
And that's
important.
why sometimes we need someone else to tell
Yeah,
us why, right? And this is why like the value of a coach and having that support system
yeah,
in whatever regard in your life, right? You think about an Olympian has coaches, a CEO has a board of directors, like we all have a support system. And so otherwise we keep banging our head against the wall, or we tell ourselves just this is what it is, like that toxic thought I was telling you, where it's like, well, this is what it's like to be a lawyer at a big firm. And it's like, it doesn't have to be like that in big law. It can, yes, you can be busy and you can work hard, but you can also break through that stuck that you're experiencing. So that step is like the preliminary first step of like getting anywhere. Because
yeah,
then once you do that, then you can make a plan, not a plan based on like an emergency exit, but actually a strategic plan that positions you for partner. And so
yeah,
this is where you get like really deep here is like, what's going on in your corporate environment? What does it look like for you? How do you want to get there? Even in big law, right? How many different groups are there in each firm? It's not the same. So you need to really make an intentional and strategic plan.
yes.
And then we can go into the deeper steps of like actually following the plan. Now it sounds so basic, right? I call
No,
it,
I've so been there. You're like, wait a minute, I have to actually do this?
yeah, it's like every client, it's like, okay, I made the plan. And it's like, all right, well, it doesn't magically happen until we execute on the plan. So then we
Exactly.
need to execute and be really consistent in that. And consistency, as I'm sure you can speak to, right? It's not about every day doing it perfect. It's about progress over time.
Learning through the failures and having them be, teaching steps along the way and not a sign that something's gone wrong.
And that's why I think our work together, it's so valuable, because the difference is often we'll say we tried everything or we tried it once and we say then it didn't work. it didn't work. And it's like, well, how many times did you try?
Yeah.
I'm sure Estelle, it's like how many times someone's trying like a certain new look or a color and they'll be like, well, this didn't work for me. And you're like,
Right.
but yeah, I was like, I'll let you speak to that.
Yeah, and actually, as you're talking about that, thinking through it, I see this a lot with women in clothes that don't quite fit them well. Um, we try something, we see something look amazing on someone else who walks into the room, and we ask them where they got their blazer, where they got their dress, and then we buy it, and they have a totally different body shape than we do, and so it doesn't look good on us. And as
Mm,
women, instead of going, "Oh, that's just the wrong dress," we blame our bodies. We're like, "I guess I just have that weird body that is this is as good as it's going to get." And it's not. You just haven't been educated as to the types of silhouettes that are going to be the most flattering for you. And there's no reason you would feel like you should have to know that if you hadn't studied it. You're not, I think high achieving women, we feel like we can accomplish anything we put our minds to. And we can, but there's only so much time in a day. And so you have to triage, like, do you want to spend 10 hours learning how to be a stylist or learning how to find the right clothes? You could do it, but on the list of priorities of what you have to get done that day, what has to be done. And so that's where outsourcing is just a powerhouse move because it's taking advantage of the time value of money and exchanging that for speed. Like when you hire an expert, you expend the money, but the gift you get is speed to get the result
mm,
quicker and better than you would have done it on your own. And
absolutely. I love that. I love
yeah,
that so
but
much.
I hear you so much. It makes me so sad when people try Stitch Fix a couple times and that's just, they're just sending whatever. And if it doesn't work, then we just give up and accept that we're just going to settle for good enough when great is available to us. And the difference between good enough and great is huge, in terms of your confidence, in terms of how you're showing up as a leader. You don't have to settle. And it's not that hard to get to the other side if you just find someone who could help you.
Well, I think this is a perfect segue. So, like the fourth step in my six
Oh,
steps,
yeah.
it talks about your type A tendency takedowns. And this is where perfectionism comes into play. We think not only are we an attorney and an esteemed one, but we're also the stylist, our mental health director, our, like fill in the blank.
Nutritionist, personal trainer. We should know everything.
We
Mom
should know
care.
everything. And to your point, at what cost, right? We talked about time being one of the easiest things to say, well, I'm not promoting because I think I have no time. But then we like waste a ton of time. Even if, let's say, you have a propensity or you enjoy fashion, it's much easier when you get a cute curated little closet that you can pick between three blazers instead of 3,000. And like, that's where I think you still get to have power over like over your appearance and how you do it. But like, is it really worth digging through every website to find the one thing? Or, even in perfectionism with like I work with, my background's in accounting, and we used to have this idea of materiality, which essentially means you have a percentage where you could just say, okay, it rounds up, it's good enough, and you can kind of write off a small margin
Right.
without like worrying about it. And I'm like, but the perfectionist and all of us still try to get 100%. And we're like, no, there's materiality for a reason. Like you get to your threshold and you move on. And so like you can decide in your career, like, am I going to let perfectionism get in the way or even people pleasing of everyone wears black and blue suits,
Right.
right? Like, can I be someone who wears a pop of color, right? Or you feel like, oh, it like you don't, so you people please and then you wear black, but you don't feel like authentically yourself.
Yeah.
So
Or
that's
like
where
you're blending into the background. And that's the
100%.
worst feeling.
Yeah, well, and it's the fastest way to not get promoted, right? When you keep putting yourself in the back seat because again, like people pleasing, and if you're new to this idea of people pleasing, it's the idea of like giving at your expense, right? It's not just giving for giving's sake, it's at your expense. So you're saying I have to wear this because everyone else wears this. I have
Mhm.
to operate because this is how everyone else operates. And I'm sure you can see that so much of like the difference of like confidence and being bold
Yep.
and really making that next level to promotion versus like staying timid, staying small and not getting there.
Yeah. And that kind of the way you're describing it's kind of the difference between an employee and an owner. Like if you
Mhm.
want to do the people pleasing, then you can stay comfortable in your employee status, but you're not going to be demonstrating owner status. And so
Absolutely.
that's what you're giving up to people please.
Absolutely. And so just to wrap up, so you have all the steps because people are like, wait, where's
I'm
five and
sorry,
six?
I keep
So
getting off track.
5 and 6, 5 is rebuild your confidence, which really talks about what Estelle was mentioning in the beginning of if you don't have confidence, right? Like we expect we just like we'll have it or we'll walk into the boardroom feeling empowered. But notice it's step 5 out of 6. We need the other things. We need to build sequentially to truly build that confidence up. And I like even Estelle, like this process sounds like it's applicable for what you're doing because by the time you get to step 5, it's like you start to feel a little more bold in what you're doing and how you're showing up and what you're willing to try.
Yeah, you start to have fun. I mean, that's my favorite part is clients coming to me and they're just so frustrated with shopping. They hate shopping. The whole experience has been miserable. Then we work together and it always cracks me up when people say, the clothes that I tried, they were actually really comfortable. And I'm like, yes, that's a given. Sometimes people, I'll say, well, what is kind of your idea of their next level style vision? And they're like, comfortable. I'm like, oh no, that's a baseline requirement. I'm going to find you comfortable clothes. And
So
it's
good.
changed because back in, when I first started practicing law, clothes were not comfortable if they were professional.
For
Um,
sure.
but it's just seeing it being able to be done a different way. That you didn't have the ability with your current knowledge to get you there without having to do a whole lot of studying and research.
I
Um,
love it.
yeah.
It's so true.
But wait, what have you gotten the sixth step?
Sixth step is evaluate, but I think we're doing it together,
I
right?
do
And this
too.
is where you're saying it's like, oh, this clothes is comfortable. Like you can be, forward in your fashion and comfortable, or even like you can notice, well, in 6 months in a mid-year review, how did you do? And you can evaluate how you operated based on the 5 steps. But we don't want to evaluate on step 1 because we start to think I'm the worst, I'm terrible, right? If we don't get through the other 5 steps. So those are all the 6 steps. I could summarize them in the recap comment when you look at this below or, when you check out the comments after. But having this process, it sounds like, it's foolproof because even as Estelle's talking about her pathway up to promotion and unlocking it, and I am too, it's like these steps really help us forge the path to what we want for ourselves. But I'm sure it's not easy for everyone. So, and I'm sure there are mistakes along the way. So I would love to ask you, Estelle, what are some style mistakes that we see along the way in the profession? Because I'm sure they're out there.
Yeah, well, it's kind of along the lines of what you were saying in terms of, when you work with your clients, you're building a foundation and you can't just start at, step 5. And so when I'm working with my clients, you can't just, I don't ever start with let's go shop. I mean, no, we're going to actually build your style. I'm not going to be doing a service for you if I don't know you well and I just go into a store and be like, well, this is cute. Because it's about intentionally curating a wardrobe that speaks to who you are in your leadership and your style preferences, your body shape, all that kind of thing. And so it's the intentionality piece that's missing a lot with women because the way we shop is very haphazard. We get an
Mm,
event that we have to go to, we wait to the last minute. I did this too. And then you're like, it's tomorrow. And you run to the nearest mall and you're stuck with whatever happens to be available in the store and the pushy salesperson with the bad lighting telling you look fabulous, even though you're really not feeling it. But you get it anyway because you're in a pinch and then you wear it and you don't feel great and it goes back in the closet never to see the light of day. And so
mm,
instead of being kind of beholden to the events, what I do with my clients is let's take a step back. We can pretty much figure out the kinds of events that we're going to need to go to in our lifestyle. And then let's reverse engineer it so that we have what we need and we take our time and we're not beholden to it's tomorrow. And if it doesn't fit, it's going to have to be good enough. It's like, no, be intentional, create a wardrobe you love that works for your lifestyle. Then when you get those invitations, it's no big deal because you've got it. But the other mistake that I see is not only not building an intentional wardrobe, but the
mm,
biggest one I see, and the one that just hurts my heart so much because I've been there too, it's not dressing for your body shape. As
mm.
women, we go through so many changes with our bodies, all the hormonal changes from puberty to pregnancy. Now I'm in the lovely throes of perimenopause. And, what used to work for your body doesn't anymore because your body's changed. And, you don't know how to dress this new body. And it's really just a matter of being educated on your body shape. And that's one thing that's really important to me when I'm working with my clients is to help them understand what silhouettes are going to make you feel the best about yourself. And so when women come in, tell me, well, when I lose those 10 pounds, I'll invest in my wardrobe. That I've been there and that it's just, it crushes my soul because you have to get dressed now. And the reality is, so many times we say, I'll invest in myself when, and
Hmm.
a month turns into a year, turns into like 5 years. And that whole time, we're in effect punishing our bodies and ourselves because we're saying our bodies aren't good enough to invest in clothes now. And you have events to go to and you want to feel good now. And ironically, if you're trying to lose weight, if you actually buy clothes that fit your body now that are flattering, you're going to feel better about yourself, which ultimately ends in better healthy habits, which is often what the result is a weight loss. So, it's just thinking about it through a different lens and a
Totally.
caring self-care lens, you
It
know?
sounds so counterintuitive because it
Yes,
sounds like, well, why would you spend all that money when, I'm going to lose the 10 pounds next month, Estelle? And you're like, all right, well, like, call me in a month. Otherwise, we're starting in a month at your current size. But like, you can imagine, like, I know that there's been things that, like, maybe like a certain, like, item that you love, but it just doesn't fit anymore. And I think we have to be, like, really honest with ourselves about that.
yes. And then those clothes, they mock you. You keep clothes in your closet that are 10 pounds too small. And every day you walk in is a reminder that you're not good enough. That has got to
Oh.
go. That is not helpful. If you put it out of your sight, if you do lose the 10 pounds and it fits later, great. Pull it back out from under the box, under the bed. But don't be reminded of it on a daily basis that you're not measuring up to what you think you should be wearing. I'm very adamant about that too. We don't need that.
I love that because it's so true. We don't need another critic. Like we're
No.
usually our own worst critics. And then when you have like a jacket in your closet and then a pair of
Exactly.
pants like
You're like, oh,
mocking you,
oh no, that doesn't work. Oh,
I don't
that's
need
gonna
more
fit it.
reasons to
Yeah.
tell me, are there any more mistakes? I'm like, these are so good.
I mean, I think the haphazard, like unintentional wardrobe that doesn't mix and match easily is
Yeah.
one, and not preparing for your lifestyle, not knowing how to dress your body shape. But then I think another one is just not really identifying like who you are as a person and expressing that outwardly. Like not doing the work
Mm.
to evaluate, where am I in my life? What's the message I want to send through my style? What are my style preferences now? Those are all the things that I work through with my clients in my first phase of working with them before I ever go shopping with them, because it's unique to you. And unless you feel that your wardrobe speaks to who you are, then you're not going to feel authentic or comfortable in your skin.
Mm, that's so good. It's so good. And then it's like, as we're thinking about like unlocking your next promotion, it's such a good time if you're on that cusp of like, I'm about to get promoted or I've just been promoted to really think about that identity of who are you? Who are you? How are you going to care for yourself? And
Yep.
how do you really follow through and not just like check a box of like, okay, maybe I get myself like a new bag, but like, it's really like investing in yourself of like,
Yes.
I value all my hard work. I value me. I love myself and I'm still going to get promoted or like, and I just got promoted. Look, watch out world,
Right.
right?
And I'm good enough as I am right now. And if
Mm,
if something changes, great. But where we are right now is good. And we don't need to punish ourselves.
I love that. That's so good. That's so good. Well, I'm like, wow, I feel like we've gone through
All of a sudden, the
so
time has
many.
flown.
I know time flies. We've had such a great conversation. I love that we've talked about like tactical things about like getting the promotion, the mistakes that we make, whether it's at work or looking in our closet, and even really things that we can take with us as we're going into these, maybe even contract renegotiation conversations, promotion conversations, compensation conversations, and make sure that we're really showing up as our best self. But Estelle, tell me, how can we stay connected to you? Tell us about your work. Tell us about anything that the world should know about you and how we stay connected.
Yeah, so LinkedIn is my platform of choice. So this is where you can find me. I'm here more than anywhere else on social media. If you're been listening and thinking, you know what, I just need to do it. I want something just for me, and I need some help, personalized help. Then there's a link in my profile where you can book an appointment, and I will talk to you about what are your current style challenges, where do you want to go with your style, and if I could be the one to help you, then I'll offer a solution to how I can help get you there. But I think if I could leave everyone with one message, it's that style is strategy and visibility is not vanity, it's leadership.
Ooh, that's so good. Rewind this and listen again. That it was so powerful. I love it.
Oh,
I
well,
love
how
it.
about you? Tell me, how can everyone who's listening that may have heard of you for the first time, how can they find you and tell us more about how that works?
Yeah, absolutely. So LinkedIn is my place too. You can find me, Lauren Baptiste, or go to my website, akalowawellness.com. And I work with all the billable hour professions, so in accounting, consulting, and law. And it's anywhere from coaching to group programs to speaking events, but all around this idea of burnout to best self. So, yeah, I think one thing that would be fun is we're thinking about Wellbeing Week in Law. We're having this connection about promotion. The one thing that we didn't talk about today, but I also believe is really powerful to promotions is your network. Your
Yeah,
network is your net worth. And so
yeah.
this Friday and once every quarter, I bring together a powerhouse group of women, partners, leaders, attorneys that are attorney adjacent, those that support the profession, all of these empowered women come together once a quarter. So that's happening this Friday, May 9th. So if you haven't missed it, join us this week at 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central.
I'm going to be there, and this will be my second event with you on the virtual networking. And for anyone who's listening, this is such a valuable use of your time. Lauren will put you in rooms where you can meet women, and she will give you prompts so you're not just staring at people not knowing what to say. It is the best run virtual networking group you could ever get to. So join us. It's going to be a
So
blast.
sweet. So sweet. I love it. And the theme for this quarter is all about celebrations because life has been lifing, but we deserve to celebrate all of the hard work that we do, all of the ways that we show up, and to be acknowledged for all of that. So we are
Yes.
doubling down on celebrations this week. So join us Friday. And if you have any questions or comments for me or Estelle, send us a message on LinkedIn, comment on the thread below and we would love to be in touch with you. But thank you again for joining us. This has been a pleasure. We should do
So
this
glad.
again. I had
I
fun
know. This has been a
again
blast.
and again and again. Estelle is just a powerhouse of wealth and knowledge and inspiration. So I love her content. So make sure you're following her if you're not. All right, everybody. We
Okay.
are out and above time, but thank you for listening. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thanks again, Estelle.
Sure. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it, Lauren.